So we've been talking about streaming a lot over the last couple of weeks here, and this is an area that I think most nonprofits write off today because they're like, I don't even know what Twitch is, or I don't know what Mixer is, whatever the live stream site might be, and so they write it off as just kind of another student low dollar campaign effort, but really it's actually more traditional than non-traditional. And what I mean by that is you've got all these content creators on these platforms that have a following and have influence, and they're actually way more accessible than like the stars in Hollywood and so forth. And as like a fundraising team, what you're good at is cultivating relationships with people, bringing them into your mission, getting them excited about what you're doing, and asking them to give or participate. It's the same thing with broadcasters or content creators, in live streaming. Is you get them to care about what you're doing, and then they share your message with their audience. And you're not curating it, you're not providing any materials. It's just they're gonna do the thing that they always are doing, but start talking about you and raising funds. And you see nonprofits that are literally raising $1 million a day through this sort of effort, and it's not costing them anything. I think that we're going to start seeing more events transform into these live stream experiences where it's not as important anymore to actually be at the event. Instead, you could be watching from your living room live and engage with the content and actually engage with what's happening. Or maybe the event is virtual altogether, and you're not putting on black tie attire and spending a ton of money, and the organization's not dropping $100,000 for a venue. So I see that as being something that's super interesting that nonprofits are heading into. Younger, more agile nonprofits have been very successful at this. I also think, we're talking a lot over the next few weeks about event strategies. I also think that events in the next couple of years there's going to be a huge decrease in the number of events nonprofits hold, fundraising events, and also the tactics that are used. So an example, in 2008 or 2009, $16 billion was donated through like silent auctions. And that number continues to decrease rapidly at a rapid clip every year. And I was talking with an individual about that, and he was like, that's because events have turned into garage sales. And that's so true, right? Like it's so detached from the mission. And when you're selling stuff, now you're putting yourself at a disadvantage against something like Nike or Apple, because now you're selling a product and you're never gonna have a better product than these companies. So I think you're gonna start to see some declines in some of these more like streamlined mainstream kind of fundraising appeals, and you're going to see organizations starting to think more creatively about channels that aren't as crowded or noisy, and it's going to require them to create more content. I think nonprofits need to do that.